All right, hi everyone. So this is Plug, Plug, an innocent little company that deals with hydrogen generation, storage, and infrastructure. They work with some of the greats. Actually, we recently made a dedicated video talking about them and who they are, who they work with, and so on and so on. We're not going to break down that right now. They work with many, vehicle companies, many infrastructure companies, building companies, you name it. So they're quite widespread in terms of their service, sort of spread of who they work with. And the reason I want to talk about them, and as you probably were able to tell from the thumbnail of the video, to some extent there's something interesting here to talk about. We could be looking at a potential breakout with regards to Plug, and some would argue we even missed a really nice movement, doubling our money all the way from, as you can see, roughly 1.9, arguably $2 if you took the time to get in, and well, roughly 420 where we're at right now. You could have doubled your money. So if, let's say, you've invested or traded with $1 million, buying $1 million worth of shares, you would have been able to take, with commissions and taxes, easily here the equal amount that you would put in. If you put $1 million, you would get 2 million out, basically, if you would sell the entire position. Now, many people tend to ignore such little stocks, not realizing there's a lot of money to be made there. And again, of course, you don't have to go in with $1 million. It was just a example to highlight how you could have literally doubled your money, and what these sort of smaller penny stocks, if you will, these smaller, less known stocks could be the value of, and how they make pretty decent returns. And some would think, those who know technical analysis, which again I highly recommend joining my community because I teach those methods, these tools, and so on, would be able to identify a potential structure that is being built here that is known as the inverted head and shoulders, pretty much the opposite as we're seeing in the market. Some of what we're seeing in Plug has to do with the energy shock and with the pricing of energy we have right now. Pretty much everything we have with regards to oil, how expensive oil is right now. But Greg, what do you mean oil is down from 100 and a bit? I actually warned and said we were still fluctuating and revolving around that major channel in the center, 95 to 99 handle. Of course, you can call it 100, and you can call this 95 flat, doesn't really matter. There are lower bands to this entire range, 78 or 80 if you wanna, and of course 118 or 120 if you want to. And I've warned that how we will see fluctuations. In fact, you can see how it was a rough sketch of what my expectation was of retesting these very levels. You can see them highlighted right here. And part of the energy shock and how expensive energy right now has become, you can see other companies and you can see companies and various infrastructure providers turning to replacement energy resources, which such as Plug or hydrogen, in other words. And so, of course, you can see energy is being affected. We can, of course, consider that a sector-wide effect. And that looks pretty bullish, with some bullish inclination right here. Looks like we're moving, upwards, and momentum is bullish, all nice and dandy. But I would argue how we are now currently at the edge of this daily channel, and we are now, in fact, in slippage territory. Yes, there are various support and resistance levels that have been tested before, like you can see right there. For example, I'm sorry for all the noise, but you can already see kind of on the chart my explanation and my rough idea of what the stock can do. Now, I don't really think that's what's going to happen. That's just kind of explaining the idea. What I am actually thinking that's going to happen is that we're going to retest that level of 450-ish, which we are very close to, and potentially going to get magnetized. And once we retest it, we're potentially going to move downwards, establishing a new higher low, because as you can see, we're now building out a framework of higher lows and potentially even higher highs. So maybe we'll end up testing even slightly higher than that 452. The higher band nearby that is a very strong resistance level. Coincidentally, it's also a very sort of psychological, neat, nice number, which is 5, 500, if you will, in our mind, the way it's going to be perceived. So right now that's 4.97, the current potential higher high we're going to have right here. Of course, we consider slippage a little bit, and there are internal smaller inner day support and resistance levels that are not that strong, which this behavior or this procedure may end up testing somewhere around here above that line, but it doesn't matter. In this scenario, we will consider the 497 or the $5 area to be the actual resistance. Now, I'm thinking, that's my assumption. Now, why am I assuming that? Because right now we've been looking at the daily momentum, which appears to be more so bullish than bearish. But if on the other hand, we look at our weekly here, which of course is more indicative of a longer lasting duration trend and subsequently a longer lasting duration correction. So it does seem like we've been running highs. You can tell from the new overlay we have here, explaining how the stochastic RSI functions. And if we zoom in on this, we're right now are running bullish. Usually we tend to have 3 of these tests before we actually break down. And that shows us basically that not the entire brunt of the bullish momentum has been purged yet. And in fact, given looking at this, the potential way this is going to play out is something akin to this. Again, general guidance. This is not how it has to play out. This is general guidance. This is to show that we still have bullish momentum and the potential support and resistance levels that are going to be play out as the sort of the main roles of the resistance in this case. Now, if we look at the weekly, the 2 weeks also is, by the way, very indicative again of a transition coming up. And if you pay attention, the overall 2-week channel has been an overall downtrend. That's how unpleasant it is. And it takes time before we have a buildup of enough data to be aggregated into the moving average to be considered and reshuffle or shift the channel from being a downtrend, especially when it refers to the major ones, to a sideways channel and onwards to an upward trend, which why in my argument here is this is not done and over with, and you shouldn't plow all in like crazy because it's not going to fly to the moon yet. Maybe there is a little bit more money to be made here, a little bit. That arguably the less 10% of the trade, 5%, whatever, I don't risk it normally, just for you to know that's kind of not how I function. I function in swings, and I would prefer to already prepare myself for the downswing. Or again, if you don't like to short, I wouldn't just simply, exit and accumulate returns to re-enter here at a lower price, which will give you a higher amount of shares and better returns on the upcoming run through the very same levels that you already ran through, if you think about it. So you're going to make money twice running through the very same levels, and in fact you're going to make more money given how you have more shares. It's kind of a logical little strategy we account managers apply to our processes. Of course, pardon me. Of course, we do like to take returns here and there. Bit my that's unpleasant. Bit my lip. Nah. So yeah, that's kind of it, boys and girls. That's what I wanted to tell you about Plug. That there is an overall larger structure that is being built up here, and I highly recommend joining my community so you learn exactly how it functions and what tools do you need to have to learn. Right now, all the community and everything and all its features and tiers and everything is highly discounted. Temporarily, again, soon these discounts will expire. I highly recommend you join. Right here you go to my Patreon, the address is right there. You have the $8 or $10 tier, depends if you pay annually or not. If you don't pay annually, it's $10 a month or $90 a month for the full access. And now right now, by the way, the academy, the one-on-one academy, in which I tutor you one-on-one how these technical tools function, is also highly discounted. Let me show you. Yeah, well, technically it is here. Soon to be changed to $5,000. The original true value of that academy is $10,000. No, this is not a joke. I used to do this professionally for institutions. I learned very long from. I started off my my career in the industry as a junior, but if you will, a glorified salesman, knowing nothing and understanding nothing, and slowly throughout the years made my way from being a junior to a full-fledged analyst, technical expert. Now, I highly recommend you stop wasting your own time and actually join the community so I can teach you one-on-one, actual proper sessions that last time usually up to 2 hours. an hour up to 2 hours usually. The differs. There are 12 sessions to the whole process, and in fact sometimes I give even longer than just 2 hours, sometimes even 3 hour sessions. Depends on how well you absorb and understand, and how quickly we move through the information and everything, through what is there to be taught. We do Q&A as well through the process, and then you remain in the community. As you can see, the Academy members have a whole tier. We hang out, we have meetings. As you can see, for example, the Academy meetings are recorded and posted. There's members exclusive content. There's plenty of really good stuff why you should join the community, and don't miss out on this opportunity while everything is highly discounted. I don't want you guys to have a headache with all the promo codes and all that crap, so I simply kept everything discounted temporarily. All these discounts will expire soon, so do not waste the opportunity. Join in. All right, ladies and gents, that's all. Of course, I do talk about Plug in depth with my community, although recently I haven't done a meeting, and that's what the upcoming meeting is going to be about. So if you want to join that meeting, you definitely, or at least be able to watch its recording, because everything is recorded and posted, or at least I try to. Definitely join in right now, and so you'll not miss out on the next post or the next upcoming good, wonderful stock we're going to talk about. We're also about to work out an inner circle kind of community for the Academy members, similarly to how Tom has it, like the elite part of his Academy. No surprise that our communities are similar in their structure, because both of us, first of all, are very good, close friends, and I help him, he helps me. A metric F-ton. I'll tell you that I probably would have long gone quit doing YouTube if not my dear friend Tom. So lots of love and shout out to you, my dear brother. Thank you for everything, for all the help and everything, and of course thank you the members, the viewers. Shout out to you, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Thank you. I'd like to hear your comments and thoughts in the Discord, in the comments below, or on Discord if you join. For now, have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.